The Slovak Air Force, known since 2002 as the Air Force of the Armed Forces of the Slovak Republic, is the aviation and air defense branch of the Slovak Armed Forces. Operating 25 aircraft and 9 helicopters from 3 air bases, Malacky, Kuchyňa, Sliač, Prešov. It succeeded the Czechoslovak Air Force together with the Czech Air Force in 1993. The Slovak Air Force is part of NATO Integrated Air Defense System NATINADS. The Slovak Air Force is tasked with the defense of the sovereign Slovak state and the support of the nation's ground troops. 9 Russian upgraded fighter aircraft MiG-29 together with 8 modernized basic and light advanced trainers Aero L-39 dominate the inventory, followed by the 7 Let L-410 and 1 Antonov An-26 transport aircraft. The helicopter fleet consists of the 9mm Mi-17. 8mm Mi-24 were withdrawn from service on September 20, 2011. The Slovak Air Force has been under the command of Brigadier General Miroslav Korba since September 15, 2012. History 1939 1945 After the division of Czechoslovakia by Nazi Germany in 1939, Slovakia was left with a small air force composed primarily of Czechoslovak combat aircraft. This force defended Slovakia against Hungary in 1939, and took part in the invasion of Poland in support of Germany. During the World War II, the Slovak Air Force was charged with the defense of Slovak airspace, and, after the invasion of Russia, provided air cover for Slovak forces fighting against the Soviet Union on the Eastern Front. While engaged on the Eastern Front, Slovakia unregistered trademark S obsolete biplanes were replaced with German combat aircraft, including the Messerschmitt Bf-109. The Air Force was sent back to Slovakia after combat fatigue and desertion had reduced the pilots' effectiveness. Slovak air units took part in the Slovak national uprising against Germany from late August 1944. 1946 1992 During this time Czechoslovakia was a member of the Eastern Bloc, allied with the Soviet Union, and from 1955 a member of the Warsaw Pact. Because of this, the Czechoslovak Air Force used Soviet aircraft, doctrines, and tactics. The types of aircraft were mostly MiGs. MiG-15, MiG-19, and MiG-21F fighters was produced in license. In the 1970s, MiG-23MF were bought, accompanied by MiG-23mm and MiG-29s in the 1980s. During the 1980s and early 1990s, the Czechoslovak Air Force consisted of the 7th Air Army, which had air defense duties, and the 10th Air Army, responsible for ground forces support. The 7th Air Army had 2 air divisions and 3 fighter regiments, and the 10th Air Army had 2 air divisions and a total of 6 regiments of fighters and attack aircraft. There were also 2 reconnaissance regiments, 2 transport regiments, 3 training regiments, and 2 helicopter regiments. In November 1989 communism fell across Czechoslovakia. The 2 parliaments of the 2 new states from 1993, the Czech Republic and Slovakia, decided how to split the assets of the former Air Force. The assets were divided 2-1 in the Czechs' favor, and thus the Slovak Air Force was formed. However, the 20 MiG-29s were shared equally between the 2 countries. 1993 2016 After the formal dissolution of Czechoslovakia on January 1, 1993, Czech and Slovak aircraft were divided according to each nation's population, in a ratio of nearly 2-1 in the Czech Republic's favor. The exceptions to this rule were the MiG-23s, which were given exclusively to the Czech Air Force, and the MiG-29s, which were divided evenly between the 2 nations. Slovak bases were initially under-equipped to handle the aircraft transferred from the Czech bases, and required considerable improvements in infrastructure to facilitate the new Air Force. On March 1, 1995, the Air Force replaced the Soviet-style aviation regiment organization with the Western Wing and Squadrons system. Around 2000–2002, Slovakia gradually retired many of the older aircraft, including the entire fleet of Su-22, Su-25, and MiG-21. In 2004, the Flight Training Academy and National Aerobatic Demonstration Team BL-Albatrosi, both based at Košice, were disbanded. On January 19, 2006, the Slovak Air Force lost an Antonov An-26 in a crash. On September 20, 2011, all of the remaining Mi-24 gunships were retired. In January 2014, Slovakia started discussions with the Swedish government regarding leasing or purchasing JAS-39 Gripen aircraft to replace their MiG-29 fighters. On April 21, 2014, Slovakia and RAC MiG signed a contract for a 3-year-long modernization program for the Air Force's MiG-29 fighters. On July 28, 2014, Slovakian Minister of Defense Martin Glva confirmed that the JAS-39 Gripen was selected as the new fighter aircraft for the Slovak Air Force. Slovakia to open talks with Sweden on Gripen jet fighters. In its effort to boost defense capabilities, Slovakia is set to begin official talks on the rental of Gripen jet fighters from Sweden, with the Slovak government assigning the task to Defense Minister Martin Glva at its regular session on March 18, 2015. Glva envisaged the beginning of the negotiations back in late January. The government maintains, as quoted by the TAS and Newswire, that Sweden is the only country to offer Slovakia an option whereby it could rent flying hours. Details of the costs and number of Gripens to be used in Slovakia are still to be elaborated during the talks. The only partner who fulfills our current conditions is the Swedish government, and the producer of Gripens, he said. After 2 years of talks with Sweden about acquiring Gripens, Slovakia is now pursuing other options regarding its fighter squadrons and is in talks with Russia to extend its use of MiG-29 fighters beyond 2016. Bases and commands. Aviation assets are divided between 3 major air bases throughout the country, at Malacky, Kuchyňa, Sliač, and Prešov. The headquarters of the Air Force is at Zvolen. Headquarters of Slovak Air Force, based at Zvolen, Transport Wing, based at Malacky, Kuchyňa, 1st Transport Flight, An-26, 2nd Transport Flight, L-410, Mixed Wing, based at Sliač 1st Squadron, MiG-29AS, MiG-29UBS, 2nd Squadron, L-39 cm, L-39ZAM, Helicopter Wing, based at Prešov, 1st Training and SAR Squadron, Mi-17LZPS, 2nd Transport Helicopter Squadron, Mi-17M, Technical Squadron of Maintenance, Anti-Aircraft Rocket Brigade, based at Nitra, 1st Anti-Aircraft Rocket Group, SA-10B Grumble, 2nd Anti-Aircraft Rocket Group, SA-6 Gainful, Command, Control, and Surveillance Brigade, based at Zvolen. Aircraft Current inventory Retired aircraft Previous aircraft operated by the Air Force consisted of MiG-21 unregistered trademark S, Sukhoi Su-22 unregistered trademark S, Sukhoi Su-25 unregistered trademark S, Tupolev Tu-154 unregistered trademark S, Aero L-39 unregistered trademark S, and Mi-24 helicopters. Future aircraft The Slovakian government has given approval for the acquisition of 9 Sikorsky UH-60M helicopters. The $261 million deal would include training, logistics, spares, and maintenance. The aircraft could be delivered between 2017 to 2019. Air defense See also, Military of Slovakia, Ground Forces of the Slovak Republic, Slovak National Uprising, 2006 Slovak Air Force Antonov An-26 crash. References. External links, official homepage of the Slovak Air Force, Slovak Ministry of Defense page on the Slovak Air Force, N.S.K., homepage of Slovakia's 1 Fighter Squadron, N.S.K., homepage of 2nd Training Squadron, AFB Sliač, N.S.K., website of the former Slovak Flight Demonstration Team, N.S.K., website of the disbanded Slovak Military Flight Academy, S.K., scramble on the webpage for the Slovak Air Force, N. Aeroflight World Air Forces on Slovakia, N. Eagles of the Tatras, the Slovak Air Force 1939 Euro 1945, N.